Hello and welcome back to the 500 workshop. Today we're going to do one of the basic tasks, and that is jacking up the car. We're going to look at where the jack points are, where it's safe to jack up, and how we do that, and how we put it on axle stands, and then how we lower the car back down after we jacked it up. So let's do that now. So here we have Fiat 500F. All the models are the same when it comes to jacking, and we're going to look at the most common jacking points on this car. The first one is going to be right at the front here, and we're just going to go under the car. See if we can get a good shot of this. So this is the front of the car, and just under here, hopefully you can see there's a plate just here. That is a good structural place to be jacking the car. It should be said though, if your car is old or derelict, or has a lot of rust, you need to be careful of this jacking point, because you can move or displace the whole of the front of the car if your car is not in good condition. So if you just bought it, you're unsure where the rust is, etc., maybe avoid that area. Otherwise, you can jack against one of these braces on the front suspension if that feels more appropriate. They're quite a reinforced area and take a lot of impact from the suspension, so it's a good area. You've got that one that side, and you've got another one on the other side as well. Now we're going to go around to the back to look at an alternative jacking point towards the rear. So here we have the rear of the car, and we're going to walk towards it slowly, get under it again like we did at the front, and see what we're dealing with. So here's your sump for your engine, and just before that you've got this nice plate just here, which is a really good strong jacking point along the rear brace on the car. So we're going to use that to jack the rear today as well. Now we're going to come along the side of the car to look where we could put our jack stands and our jacking points, and if we just go slowly under the car, we'll see a couple of kind of little braces on the side here, reinforced bits on the side. There's one there and there's one further up, and these are repeated on both sides of the car. Again, what you want to, this is just in behind the front wheel, what you want to be looking at before you use them is just condition. Make sure the floor's not too rusted, make sure the actual point's not too rusted, because the last thing you want is for the axle stand to go through the body of the car. These are also jacking points if you would have a puncture or a wheel problem, and you just wanted to look at that wheel. You could jack from this point using the jack which comes with the car, or a scissor jack, or any other type of jack, just for the corners. So we're going to jack up the 500 now. We're ready to do that. We have the 3-ton jack, which I've shown you before. This is again a SIP group jack, but there's plenty of makes and models out there. Again, a lot of these come with a pad, but I've taken a piece of wood, chiseled some bits in there. Hopefully you can see that, just so it holds nicely on the top of this jack. So make sure that's fitted, and that gives me 1.5 inches, 2 inches of extra height when I'm jacking, which can be useful, especially if you're doing jobs under the car. So we're going to slide it under the car now to the point where we said there was a jacking point at the front. So just turn the block slightly, and as you jack up, you just want to make sure that the angle of the block coming up hits directly where you want it, and as soon as you've got that contact patch, you're okay. There we go, we're on, and so we can just jack up the car now. Now make sure you've got, always jack up from the front first, because the handbrake is only operating the rear wheels. If your handbrake is not that good, you might want to use wheel chocks to make sure the car doesn't roll backwards. And if you have to jack from the back and and you can't jack from the front, then make sure you've got wheel chocks on the front wheels as well so the car doesn't roll. If you're unsure what a wheel chock is, it's normally kind of a triangle piece of plastic or wood that you just brace under the front of the tyre to stop it rolling in the direction that you don't want the car to roll in. So we're coming up now to the top of what the jack has to offer. And there we are, we're at the top now. So now we're going to get the axle stands. So here we have standard axle stand, which we're going to put under the car. This one's happens to be Draper, but there's lots of different. They all operate the same. So you pull them up to get the height, and they lock on a mechanism, ratchet mechanism, and then to get them down, you just lift this lever and they fall down. So we're going to put it under the front of the car on both sides. So we'll just raise it a little at first, and if you remember, just behind the front wheel here, there's a jack point. So that's actually a good guess. That's as high as we're going to get this at the moment. So we'll put that one under there and just leave it there while we go and get the other one. Okay, so we've got the second one. Raise this one up, and again it just wants to come up one more. So position it just nicely in place in front of the front wheel on this jacking point, and we leave it there. It's got slight gap, probably can just about fit a finger through, but it won't go up another notch. So what we need to do before we do anything else is now carefully lower, using the jack, onto these axle stands. Okay, so we're back at the front of the car with the jack, and what we're going to do is just turn it very slowly until we just feel it start. There we go, we've got the, just going to stop it a second before it hits the axle stands. Just check the axle stands are still in the right place. They're just about touching, and we're just going to finally lower it on, and there we go, it's on the axle stand. So now we can lower the jack all the way and move to the back of the car. So we're now at the rear of the car, and as we talked about before, there's a nice jacking point just in front of the sump here. So we're going to slide this in. There's just enough room to get that in nicely, and again we're going to come up, but just make sure as you hit you're in the right place, you're in a solid lifting place, and there we go, we're on, and now we're jacking up. Takes a little while to jack it up. I tend to go all the way, so make sure you've got the maximum clearance underneath the car if you are doing a job under the car. If you're just taking a wheel off, you don't necessarily need to go so far. And there we go, we're all the way up. We're now going to get our two last remaining axle stands. So just going to raise axle stand 1 under the back here, just roughly probably about 50, 60, maybe 70 centimeters from the back wheel is the point. Just going to make sure, there we go, we can get it quite nice and tall at the back here. It's quite a lot of height. Just going to make sure that's as close to alignment as possible, and then we'll do the other side. So final jack stand, axle stand, sorry, just about a finger's worth of room between that. Can't quite get it up another one, so that's where we are. And now we'll lower the jack again. So once again, we're going to lower the jack very carefully, as slowly as we can. This takes a little bit of practice. It's easy to drop the car very fast. You can feel it coming down. Just going to nip it in. Just check the axle stands again. Still nicely aligned. That one's good too. So just going to ease it down once more, and that's resting now, so I can take the jack down the rest of the way. Now you can leave the jack in position. Some people do that at the front or the back to give it extra stability, but it's always good as well just to put little bit, make sure it doesn't fall off, make sure that it's nice and steady, so before you get under and work on the car. So we've done the jacking up, it's now on axle stands. Hopefully, cameraman, can you go under and show the view of the car? So there's a reasonable space to work under there. It's not as good as if you were unfortunately had a nice 4-post or a 2-post where you could really get the car in height, but from a working on the car in a garage situation, this is perfect. Now we're going to look at lowering the car. It's very much a reverse of what we've done, but let's go through it anyway. So using the jack again, we're jacking up to the jacking point at the back here, just in front of the sump, and we're connected, so we're going to go up probably half an inch. Just feel that's rising. And now we're going to go round, just have a look at our axle stands. This one's free, so take it off and lower it, put it to one side and make sure it's not near the car at all. You don't want it to land on it as you come down. This one this side is also free. There we go, lower it down, we'll put it to one side and then start lowering the car. The car's got a lot of height to come down now, so we do need to be careful. We don't want to drop it too fast, make it unsteady, make the front stands move at all. So just nice and easy, find that bite, close it up if we need to. Always a good sound, you know it's coming down slow. And there we are, back is down, and now we'll move round to the front and do this. So back at the front, I'm going to start, we've already jacked up quite a lot of the way because you don't want to see me doing that, and we're about to hit the right area. Just keep watching at the front to make sure you've got it in the right place on the jacking point, and here we've got connectivity. So we just start going up, you can see the car just starting to rise a little. Go up again, probably half an inch to an inch. That should be enough there, and then we'll go round to the stands. So this one, nice and free, remove it, collapse it down, we'll put it to one side and go around the other side. And last one, nice and free, remove it, again put it to one side, and we're ready to lower the car. So we're going to lower the car now, again very gently because it's quite a long drop. We don't want to hit the suspension too hard. We're coming down, slow it down a little bit, here we go, it's going to reach the ground now and we're safely down. Now on these cars you might notice when you jack it up for the first time, it's quite a surprise, the rear wheels will really tuck under, and we can see that here. The really kind of the angle of those rear wheels, they are generally cambered in anyway at the bottom, so you will see a bit of camber. All you need to do is reverse it or drive it out wherever you are, and that will naturally start to settle and you'll see the camber disappear a little bit. So don't worry when you put it down for the first time and you see that camber, it will drive out as you move along. And that's how you jack up a Fiat 500.